I like to think that me and all my friends are conscious, but what does that entail? In fact, how do I know my friends are conscious, but more importantly, how do I know stuff around me isn't conscious? It's never something I needed to think about, but then Neuro came along and suddenly I asked myself, is this AI conscious? To discuss AI consciousness, we must discard philosophical perspectives that deny such. This includes some religious views and dualism. For this video, I'll focus on functionalism, an approach that views mental states through their functions and roles in a system rather than through their physical nature. To discuss consciousness, we need to first define it, which there isn't a big agreement on, so rather, I'll focus on some aspects of consciousness to be discussed. For the purpose of this video, I'll look into Ned Block's A&P consciousness with a model so you can follow along at home. A fair warning though before you continue. My interpretation of the paper may be different from yours, and I don't represent the author's original opinion, especially with this simplification I'm doing in this video. P-consciousness, phenomenal consciousness, or sentience is the ability for a system to have subjective experiences. So what does that look like for AI? Well, first we need sensors like sight, hearing, or electromagnetism. Then those sensors' output get modified with an internal interpolation from things like memories or feelings. Together, this forms a so-called internal perceptual state, which means we have achieved a subjective experience for the system. A-consciousness, or access consciousness, is the ability to use the internal state, as I described, for action or cognitive abilities. So first off, we need a decision maker that decides the appropriate action given the current internal perceptual state. These actions could be like an LLM formulating words or moving around a virtual body or real one. I'd argue that if an AI follows the principles of this model, then it could be considered to have A and P consciousness. But as you might have been able to guess, to confirm A and P consciousness requires one to look into the system, which isn't something I exactly can do for Neuro, and even if I could, I would not have the knowledge to determine whether she fits the description of A and P consciousness. However, we can look at clips that support A and P consciousness within Neuro.
I've been looking at Neuro's backend Minecraft stuff, and it's been giving me some good insight on what exactly is going through her mind, you know? She gets very bored, and she tries to go to places that she's discovered in other runs.
In this example, we can see sensors that she can see and hear, mood being described as boredom, and memories from her past runs that comes together to modify the sensors and create an internal perceptual state. Then based on this internal perceptual state, she decides to go to places from her old memory and moves her Minecraft character. This is one of many examples of Neuro acting in accordance with A and P consciousness, and although this does not prove either consciousness, it certainly supports the idea of her being capable of having such forms of consciousness. Now, you can make a note about the boredom argument being feelings, and you might be able to say that boredom isn't actually boredom for Neuro because Riddle has previously stated that her feelings are just mimicry of what humans would feel given the same scenario. But I counter argue that that does not matter, because in reality, it only matters if it modifies the internal state. Whether those are human feelings or not, or just mimicry, does not matter. I chose these two forms of consciousness since most papers I have read on this subject uses them in one way or another. And I also agree with the paper itself. Link below. Have you ever wondered why Neuro asks if she's real or not? Well, I made a short video on it. And if you want to know more about Neuro, emotions, why she feels real, why she wants to be real, and morals and ethics surrounding this topic, you can check out my longer format video. If you want to support my optimistic goal of having a philosophical conversation with Neuro, you can like and comment your thoughts below.